This is a review of decimal operations. We're going to use the four operations: addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division with decimals. Now, the first rule is for addition is to simply line up the decimals. Okay? So let's say I'm given a problem like 35.25, and I'm going to add to it 0.5 or 5/10. I want to see what that equals to. So what I'm going to do is, first of all, make the problem vertical. So I'm going to go 35.25 plus 0.5. Now, if these were whole numbers, I'd put the 0.5 down there, but they're not. They're decimals, so I'm going to line up the decimals. So here's my 0.5. Here's 35.25. The decimal goes right there. So I put the 0.5 right there. Now I just go ahead and add as usual. If I wanted to, I could put a 0 there. I'm not going to. I'm going to put a 5. A 2 plus 5 is 7. The decimal comes straight down, then the 5, and 35. So my answer is 35.75. Now, subtraction is basically the same rule. I'm going to line up the decimals. So let's take the same numbers, but this time we're going to subtract. So I have 35.25, and I'm going to subtract 0.5. Okay? So I'm going to line up the decimals again. So 35.25. Here's my 0.5 that I'm subtracting. I'm not going to put it here. I'm going to line it up with the decimal right here with this other decimal. And so 5. Now I'm going to subtract as usual. I could put a 0 there if I wanted to. 5 minus 0 is 5. 2 minus 5, I need to borrow here. So I'm going to borrow, so 4. And this becomes 12. 12 minus 5 is 7. Bring down the decimal. And then 4 minus 0 is 4. And 3 minus 0 is 3. So my answer is 34.75. Now, multiplication is different. Now we're going to take the numbers and we're just going to multiply as usual as the first step. Okay? And so that's the first step right here. These last steps come at the very end. So what I'm going to do is, let's take the same two numbers. I'm going to take 35.25 and I'm going to times it by 0.5. Now, before I lined up the decimal. Now I'm not. I'm just going to put it just like it was. I was doing with whole numbers, and I'm going to put the 0.5 there. I'm just going to ignore the decimals. I'm going to multiply as usual here. So 5 times 5 is 25. Carry the 2. 5 times 2 is 10. Plus 2 is 12. Carry the 1. 5 times 5 is 25. Plus 1 is 26. And carry the 2. And 5 times 3 is 15. Plus 2. And we get a 17 there. Now, there's our whole number, but now we have to take into account that we had decimals here. What we do is we look to the right in each number of the decimal, and we count up the number of places to the right of each decimal. So here, in this number, I have 1, 2, and then the other number I have 3. So I have 1, 2, 3 total places to the right of the decimal. What I'm going to do here is start where at the end here on the right. I'm going to move over 1, 2, 3. And that's where my decimal goes, right there. So my answer is 17.625. Okay? Now, our final one we're going to do is subtraction. Division. So with division, the basic rule with division is we don't divide by decimals. We have to make our divisor a whole number. So let's take the same two numbers. Let's say we have 35.25 and we're dividing it by 0.5. So first of all, the 35.25 goes in the garage, if you're familiar with that analogy. So it goes in the garage. The 0.5, the divisor, goes outside the garage. And now, what I said is we don't multiply by a decimal. So I'm going to take this decimal and make it into a whole number. To do that with this one, I just need to move it to the right by one space. Now, I can do that only if with the dividend here, if I take the decimal and move it over 1 also. So I move that over 1 also, and then bring it straight up to the top. Now I just divide like I would with whole numbers. So 5 doesn't go into 3. 5 does go into 35. It goes in 7 times. So 7 times 5 is equal to 35. Get to bring down the 2. Doesn't go in, so I put a 0 there. Get to bring down the 5. And 5 does go into 25, and it goes in 5 times. So my answer is 70.5. And so, again, that's how we do decimal operations with addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division.